Hello everybody. For my ID plan for our course, I looked at the idea of reading comprehension and listening comprehension. So I'm going to give you a little background and then kind of describe what I did for my ID plan. So the school that I work at is Lewis L. Redding Middle School. It's within the Appoquinimink School District, and that is located in Middletown, Delaware. So the need that I determined for my ID plan was reading and listening comprehension, and we really looked at an emphasis on main idea and kind of details that go along with the main idea, but we looked at reading comprehension and the main idea when you're reading a text, and then we also looked at listening comprehension, so either listening during class time, things like that, and the main idea that comes from that, so students really grasping the idea of what you're discussing in class that day. The reason that this need was developed was because there was a 50% proficiency on Smarter Balanced Reading Assessment. So that means that about 50% of the students did not perform up to par. And we saw that this is negatively impacting other subjects, so I determined that this would be the project I wanted to do. I am one of the 6th grade science teachers, and science is a lot of content and reading and understanding topics, so this comprehension piece goes right along with that. So I felt that if I determined this need, that my students could really benefit and grow from this. There were 2 priority goals that I listed that would go well with this ID plan. One was that students will be able to read a passage or listen to a lesson regarding a specific subject and write a short answer response explaining the main idea and giving supporting details. So by the end of this whole plan, we want students to be able to either read a passage or they're listening to a lesson. From that, they're able to understand the main idea of that lesson or that reading and give supporting details. So it would show that they got a true grasp of comprehending that topic. In addition, we looked at students will accurately read a 6th grade passage with 98% accuracy. And I added that goal in there simply because at this point, most students should be accurately reading 6th grade texts at that rate, but the accuracy level really depends on the student. It depends on possibly them having special education needs and things like that. But I believe this is important because we can still grow reading accuracy levels. And if students don't have an appropriate accuracy level, it may impede them from really comprehending that lesson. So we added that goal in there as well. So the learners that I am discussing, it's 50% proficiency in that ELA category, which was on the Smarter Balanced Assessment. There are approximately 130 students that I instruct in science. 40 of those students are special education students. So as I am the special education co-teacher, 40 of my students are also special education students. Reading comprehension is not their favorite subject. So reading comprehension is not something that they typically love. We want to gear our learners towards looking at their interests and the science subjects that it's on, so not just giving them something that's not meaningful and they're not interested in, because if we bring in our students' interest levels, it'll really spark them to do well on this assignment. Generally, my class has great motivation. There are a couple students that it's a little more difficult than others, but I'm lucky that I am with a good group of students. And in the classroom with these learners is myself and a co-teacher at all times. So there were many different lesson objectives that I laid out that will really help reach that those 2 ending goals. So those are: students will be able to accurately read a grade level passage. Students will be able to read and determine the main idea of a grade level passage. Students will read a grade level passage with 98% accuracy. Students will be able to complete a multiple choice comprehension assessment based on the reading of a grade level text. Students will be able to return to the text to find supporting details of a main idea. Students will use highlighting as a strategy to help in determining the answers to a multiple choice question. Students will use keywords in a question to help find the answer. Students will give 3 supporting details to support the main idea of the text. Students will understand the difference between the main idea and supporting detail. Students will use appropriate note-taking strategies to record what they learn in class. Students will correctly answer the question, what did we learn today in class? Students will understand the meaning of the main idea. So all of these lesson objectives on these 3 different pages are really looking at different aspects that are going to get these students to understanding the main idea, not only in grade level text that they're reading, but also in possibly lessons that they're listening to. And it's giving different assessments they can take, different strategies that they can use, and all of these objectives will lead the students to really grasping the idea of main ideas and details, and in the end will lead to these students truly understanding how to find the main idea, how to understand and comprehend what they just learned in class. So the assessments that I am using throughout this ID plan are observations, and observations are going to occur almost every second of every day of the lessons. So those observations are me walking around the class, observing what's going on, maybe observing particular students that I might know will struggle, or observing particular groups, and that'll help me gauge if I need to do some reteaching, if I need to speed up the task or things like that. We'll also complete various entrance and exit tickets. All of my students have an iPad throughout the day, and we use a program called Schoology, and this program allows the students, it's kind of almost a school Facebook, but it allows teachers to generate quizzes, tests, discussion boards, and all types of things. So they're great entrance and exit tickets. Students are able to get on their iPads, answer it in 2 minutes, and then they'll be ready in time to leave for class. We'll also look at different classwork assignments that we give throughout the different days and the different objectives. At the end of each objective is really where we'll definitely assess the students to determine their understanding. And then they'll have a summative test just to see what they got in the end goal. So we'll be looking at that final goal and determining how well they tackled that. Some of the instructional strategies that we'll be using are Kagan, the Rally Round Robin, which I discussed to you all earlier in my presentation. We'll also look at cooperative grouping. So our students sit in groups of 4. So we use cooperative grouping often, so they'll really be working together, working as teams. And then independent work. And independent work won't happen as much, but it's crucial in this class to really showcase their independent abilities to determine if that comprehension level is growing. So I just want to go over a couple other factors that I find are going to be super important, and that is that each objective can either last a whole day, or maybe more than one day, or multiple objectives will be addressed each day. So it really depends on the objective, and it sometimes may depend on the class that you're in. So that's something I'll have to determine as I teach each different class and as I go through this in the years to come. In addition, objectives may be erased if deemed necessary, or we might add objectives if necessary. So if we see a need that's not necessary, or if we see a need that really we need to focus on, we can add and delete as we need to. In addition, assessments may be deleted or added if necessary. If we feel like there's too many entrance and exit tickets that are focusing on one topic, then we can get rid of them and focus on something else that might be a little more beneficial to the students. And then we really are going to, in assessment-wise, we're really going to see students show true growth over a year, over the whole school year. So it's not going to be immediate, and it's just, this is a ID plan that's going to get those students' brains moving. In addition, I'll be looking at other courses as well, because the idea of comprehension is going to cross over in many different courses, especially science and social studies, where the content can be a little more difficult. So this is an ID plan that's really going to continue as the year goes on, and by the end of the year, and when students take that Smarter Balanced assessment this year, we'll really be able to see true growth. So I hope you enjoyed my ID plan, and I hope it's something that you'll be able to utilize in the future.